What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. The topic of interest today is finding your why. This is a big thing when I personal train. Just started personal training at a new gym here in my new hometown, in Northern California. And this is one of those personal training gyms that has no memberships. It's just all one-on-one clients, the clients one-on-one trainer-client relationship. And the clients get to pick the trainer that they think is best suited for them. And when I see a client come into a gym such as this, I would guess, I don't even need to guess because I've heard their stories. They've already tried a multitude of things. They've already tried doing it on their own at home, getting a regular cookie cutter gym membership, hiring an online personal trainer, or hiring a trainer at a Globo gym. And it all failed. And that's unfortunate. Sometimes those methods work. People find success in different ways, and I'm not knocking on either of those ways. But our clients that we get, they come in and they haven't found success, so they're looking for the next level of customization for where they need to be on their fitness journey. And we have a lot of great trainers. Some of the trainers specialize in very specific things. We have one trainer. She is a trainer who specializes in prenatal and postnatal care for women. So that's obviously very specialized. We have a trainer who's a chiropractor who likes to put people out on the table who have had significant injuries and, situations like their insurance ran out for their physical therapist and they're still looking for follow-on care. So he's a great trainer for people that have injuries. We have some trainers that have mixed martial arts backgrounds, and then you have trainers like me. And what am I really? So I was trying to define this for my pitch. I don't really have a pitch. But when I tell people why they should choose me, or they're asking why should I choose you, I tell them I am a fitness trainer second. But the reality is I'm actually a mindset coach. And the reason I say mindset is because your body, and we all know this, your body is capable of 10x, 20x, 50x of whatever you think it's capable of. And we know this not just from the gym, but I love going on YouTube and watching survival stories, like people stranded at sea or people that got caught in a crazy snowstorm while they were out climbing, or some kind of crazy camping story where they took a wrong turn and ran out of food and water. And these stories are absolutely amazing for a couple reasons. One, the circumstances, but two, when they're interviewing the people that made it, because some people don't make it, unfortunately, these people have something inside of them driving them to live. And I'm not trying to get too serious just about the willingness to live versus bench press, but the two are very relatable. And let me tell you why. When you watch these survival stories, people will say, I had to get back home to my spouse. I had to get back home to my kids. God or whatever entity, religious figure you believe in, told me I needed to survive because there was still things that I needed to do. These are like monumental reasons to stay alive. Now, why I can't quite replicate that in a safe gym environment, what I can do is ask questions, simple questions of why do you want to do this? And I already know what the answer is going to be on the surface. Hey, why are you in here to get some personal training? Well, I've kind of fallen off and it's been a couple years. I used to be fit, and then I had kids, or I got this job that's crushing me, and I sit down all day and I work 60 hours a week. I just don't have the time. And I'm like, okay, that's great. And I respect that. But why? That's not why you're here. You're not here because you gained 10 or 15 pounds. And I dig a little deeper. And then we get to the real answers, which are, I've had answers such as this. I was out hiking with my kids the other day, and my kids are no longer adolescents. They've moved on to their teenage years, and we were out on a hike, and I couldn't match them anymore. I said, hey, we're going to call it a day. Looks like the sun's going down. No, dad or mom, let's go an extra half mile. Let's make it to the actual base of the waterfall. And they just couldn't do it. And it was a reality check, because it wasn't that they couldn't do it because they had some debilitating injury. They couldn't do it because they didn't have enough in the gas tank. They weren't strong enough. They hadn't done anything that hard in a while. And it's like, man, my kids are only 13, 14. What are they going to be asking me to do when they're 18 or 25? Am I going to still be able to do stuff with them when they're 30? And there's this shocking revelation of like, I want to be here and live life with my kids while they're growing, doing the activities that they want to do. That's a great reason. Reason number 2, I have clients come in that tell me that their bloodline, they have bad genetics. And when I say bad genetics, I'm talking about people that they have in their family a chronic history of Alzheimer's / dementia, arthritis, heart attacks, strokes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and like a litany of people in this family's tree have died in their 50s, and this person is in their 40s. So they feel like death is knocking at the door, and they need to put on the body armor in order to prolong their life. That's like, okay, great answer. Let's get you in shape and get the armor on so you can outlive everybody else. It's like a final destination scenario. And then I get cute stories, which I appreciate, like a girl that I train who she's going to a wedding, and I thought it was her wedding. So I'm just listening to the story. I'm like, oh, you're going to get married. It's going to be great. That's awesome. She's like, I'm not getting married. She's like, my best friend is getting married. Okay, cool. But she's like, my best friend is getting married to a guy that I dated for a really long time. And there was no drama. It wasn't like she dated this person and then like a month later that her friend was dating him and they decided to get married. Years had passed, and it was just like a small town situation, where there's like only so many people. So, people kind of like know who's dated whom and whatever. And she was just like, I'm not trying to walk into the wedding and make my friend envious of me and my body. And I'm definitely not trying to have the guy who she's marrying look at me and say, oh, I wish I had a second chance or second guess his decision. It was just a very honest, like, I want to walk into that wedding so confident that those things that I just mentioned don't even run through my mind. I just want to walk in there with grace and authority and confidence. And I feel that if I drop 10, 15 pounds before that day and I walk in there, I can actually support my best friend better, which I found ironic, because I'm going to have inner peace with myself with this situation, because you could tell the situation was affecting her a little bit, but she wasn't doing it out of spite. It was just an honest answer. And I can really relate to that, because I'm going to just be honest. Like sometimes we all dig deep, right? Like back to our first love or something when we're in the gym and you're just lifting weights and you're like, I'm going to do one more rep for that girl that dumped me in 8th grade. It's like, it has no relevance because like you haven't talked to that person in forever, but it's just like it's psychologically damaged you somehow and you still remember it. So you're like, yeah, put an extra 10 pounds on the bar for Ashley in 8th grade, It's like we all have that, and that's fine. So like I like to get a little bit deeper, and here's why. Because when people have the excuse, like they text me an hour before their session and they're like, I'm not going to be able to make it, I'll ask them, I'm sympathetic, like, hey, stuff comes up. Is it work related? Is it family related? Are you sure there's no way you can make it? I'll even be like, hey, do you want to reschedule like an hour to the right? Is it something like a meeting is taking a little longer than you thought? Like, let's get you in here. And if I can kind of tell that they're just like not wanting to come, I'll be like, hey, am I talking to you right now? Or am I talking to the person that said that they wanted to be fit for their kids? Or the person that wants to defy the Grim Reaper? Or the person that wants to walk into this wedding just looking smashing? And so it's a little like psychological trick, but like I want to just pull them out of their laziness. And most of the time they end up showing up or rescheduling the next day. And I don't do it to torture them. I do it because I know everybody has an excuse. I have an excuse. And so I'm going to leave you with this story. I'm going to give you two people that I train and tell you why one person is a fantastic client. They're both fantastic clients, but why one person has something that the other one doesn't. And I'm trying to give it to person number two, and we'll make it. We'll get there eventually. So client number one is a client who has a goal to be better at the current sport that they're involved in. And so they told me that when they got involved in this sport last year, they came in last place almost every time, or almost last place. And they felt somewhat defeated, but they knew what they needed to do, and that's they needed to strengthen their running technique. They needed to strengthen their legs and strengthen their core, and also build up a bigger gas tank because they were gassing out. And so I said, okay, cool. So I wrote a plan for this individual, and we started executing said plan. And I've only been working with this person just shy of a month, and their potential, like everybody's potential, is unlimited. And they have just seen massive gains and growth in so many ways, like not just their physical body, but also their ability to squat. This individual had never squatted before, so we had to do like a whole day on like how to properly squat. And then I'm running them through sled drills and lunges and wall balls, and we're not doing a lot of isolation movements because the individual is younger. And so it's all compound exercises. We're doing a lot of supersetting to keep their heart rate jacked so we can get their gas tank bigger. So that's an ideal client. The second client that I have is a client that used to be in shape, became an adult, got a normal job, sits down all the time, and then got in a car crash in December and hurt their lower back. And then unfortunately, just a couple months later in May, they were diagnosed as a type, I'm probably going to mess this up, but they're a diabetic. I forget what type it is. And so, and that's not my concern. I don't deal with that. Like if you're a diabetic, you come to me and tell me, hey, if your diabetes is affecting you during this workout and you need to take some insulin or it's not the right day for you, like you have to tell me that. And we're not going to train because safety is my number one priority. But this individual actually, because of their diabetes and their injury, they did a lot of research and they're super knowledgeable about food. And so he wanted to have a conversation with me about his macro split because I told him he needed to start tracking their food, which I have all my clients do. And I started looking at his macro split and I'm like, where did you get your total calories for the day? And how did you break down your macros, your proteins, fats, and carbs? And he gave me this like very academic answer. And I told him, I was like, bro, your fat is way too high. Because if you just simply Google a macro split, like if you know nothing about macros, what should my split be? It's 40, 30, 30. That's like the universal truth of macro splits. It's 40% protein, 30% carbs, 30% fat. His fat percentage that he was allowing himself to eat daily was north of 50%. And I was like, hey, you got to bring this down. And there was some pushback. Which I appreciate. He asked a lot of questions, and that makes me do more research, which helps me become a better trainer. But the problem with this pushback in this instance is it wasn't just pushback, it was resistance. It was resistance to something as simple as after we spoke for like 45 minutes about this, like I just did 45 minutes free of my time, which I don't mind doing because I just love doing this. But finally we had to get down to like the very, very baseline, which was like, hey man, if you drink a 6-pack of alcohol every night, which he doesn't, I was just giving him an example. It's like, if you're drinking a 6-pack every night and just shoving worthless calories and carbs into your body right before you go to bed, do you think that's helpful? And he's like, no. It's like, okay, well, if you don't drink alcohol and your vice is Ben and Jerry's and you have a pint of ice cream every night, 1 hour before you go to bed, do you think that's helpful? And it's like, no. And it's like, okay, well, we're talking about all this academia about a macro split, and you're talking about your fats being north of 50, and I'm telling you to lower them. And you're like, why? And it's just like, well, I can tell you why in a scientific sense that a fat has to be stored first and a carbohydrate doesn't. So therefore, carbohydrate is going to be burned quicker because that's what your body's going to use doing physical exertion, i.e. a workout, and then your fats are going to take more oxygen to burn. So that's going to be like activities more like walking, a 110 to 115 heart rate, even sleeping is when you burn fat, but it's like it's accessing that second. So if you're putting a ton of fat in your body and it's accessing that second, and then so you're just like have also all these carbs that you're burning off first, the fat's just stored there. And then the fat's just going to be stored and it's never going to be touched. And that's stored in adipose tissue, which can lead to visceral fat. And I digress, but that's where the conversation was going. But it was literally like, man, you're trying to talk yourself out of something that I'm just telling you, try it. Because I don't need academics or science behind it, because I've put people on the split a zillion and one times, including myself. I've gained 20 pounds. I've lost 30 pounds. I've messed with macros. I know how it works and how just it's like simple, right? And so the resistance was fun but difficult, because now I'm relating this to you, is that I think everybody has a couple things in their resistance bag that they want to rest on to say why they can't get in the shape that they want to be in. And here's the beginning of the long list. I don't have time. My job doesn't allow me the time to work out, and I sit all day. My activities with my family, because I have multiple kids and I'm going off to cheer or gymnastics or karate or jujitsu or whatever, I can't find the time. I don't have the time to meal prep. I don't know how it eats, or how to eat. I don't know how to track my macros, blah, blah, blah. And so, like, there's all these excuses, and like I can pretty much just stop somebody dead in their tracks by just being like, all right, got that, roger that. Give me the one thing, just tell me one thing in your life that you know without a doubt that you could change that would make your gains grow exponentially. What's your vice? And everybody's got one, and it's super easy. I don't sleep enough. I don't go to bed at the same time, and I don't wake up at the same time, and or I'm on my computer in my bed till midnight and I get 5.5 hours of crappy sleep, and I wake up and I'm just slugging through the day. And it's like, okay, cool, we need to fix your sleep. I don't drink enough water. It's an easy one. Well, you need to carry around a water bottle. When I lived in Colorado, because of the elevation, it's like this weird, like cultish thing. Everybody carries a water bottle because of dehydration in Colorado. And I came to California and I'm just like carrying around my hydro flask everywhere. And like nobody's giving me weird looks, but I'm like, it's different because I'm just used to people having water bottles on them at all times. It's like wearing a shirt. It's like put on my shirt, put on my pants, grab my water bottle. Everybody's got a water bottle in Colorado. Other things are food. Hey, I like fast food. That's my vice. Like I love getting Taco Bell or McDonald's in the morning. Like I eat it every morning. Or like now relating back to sleep, like I wake up late, so I can't make myself a good meal. So I stop at McDonald's to get my coffee, and then I eat a bacon and egg sandwich. And the list just goes on and on and on. And here's the funny thing about that is it's all BS. It's all BS. And you don't need a coach to tell you that. It's lack of knowing your why. So when you get involved in a situation where you're like, I need to go to sleep right now because I'm going to get crappy sleep. And then it's like, well, why do I need to do that? It's like, well, I need to do that So this workout that I paid for, that I did today, and I'm investing all this money and time in a personal trainer, I can go to sleep and I can recover properly. And my muscles can recover properly because they're not recovering properly on 4 or 5 hours of sleep. And I also need to do this so when I sleep well, I can set my alarm at a decent time so I can wake up and make myself a decent breakfast so I don't have to stop and start my day with fast food. So here's the end of the story. Client number 1 is 10 years old. 10 years old. No excuses, just performance. And one might say, well, the 10-year-old doesn't have all these adult things that I have to deal with. And I say wrong. Because when you're that age, everything seems like the most important thing as you're maturing. And all this testosterone and chemicals and hormones are flooding a guy or girl's body. And it's like from the time you wake up, it's like the clothes you wear, the friends you hang out with, your social circle, how good are you doing academically, sports, band, the rumors. Now that social media is out there, it's like it's a minefield for these kids. They worry just the same amount as an adult worries about their jobs, their bills, their marriage, their mortgage, like all that stuff. So I think that's a BS excuse. So I got a 10-year-old that's just like, yeah, whatever I need to do, I'm going to crush it. And then I have this other individual who's a very hard worker. And like, I'm not dogging on him in any sense. I'm just trying to give you an example of, I think that as we grow older and we have more access to knowledge and we can interpret it and retain it, we use that as fuel against somebody trying to help us, i.e. me as a personal trainer with a client, to be like, oh, well, you're telling me to reduce my fat percentage in my macro split, but I'm diabetic now and I've been researching keto. So like in keto, it's this with carbohydrates versus with fats. And I follow this guy that does this high fat diet with protein, or this person only eats meats, or and like, yeah, no kidding. There's all these different methodologies out there because people's bodies work different and they find different things. The problem is you're not using, is it saying, I've been on keto for 3 months and it was fantastic, or I've been doing all meat for 3 months and it's fantastic, or I've been doing South Beach diet or whatever it is and it's been fantastic. What people tend to do is they do something for 30 days, which is not long enough, and they don't see the results they want, and they immediately shun that program. And then they tell me, the personal trainer, hey, I've already done this, it doesn't work. And here's the reality, folks. This is the reality. Excuses are a dime a dozen. 30 days isn't long enough. There's no magic pill. There's no magic shot. It's literally hard work. It is hard work, effort in the gym, and even harder work defeating your vices daily and having good nutrition, good sleep, good hydration, and a good mindset consistently for a period way longer than you think it's going to be. And that's why you need to know your why, because you have to know how bad you want it. Because wanting something bad and only performing for 30 days, you don't want it hard enough. 60 days, you don't want it hard enough. 90 days, nope, not hard enough. You only know that you want it hard enough where you're 6 months, 9 months, or a year down the road, and you look back at the old you and say, I never want to go back there again. I'm basically a new person when it comes to my fitness regimen. And I'm going to continue this process because this is who I am. Out.